Wow. Well, that was an epic disaster. So allow me to explain what happened. That was a really interesting cascading series of failures that led to this. So, okay, let's just get rid of this chat so I don't have to look at Aaron laughing at me. Well, let's just make sure, first of all, there we go, Bart saying, okay, all right, so here's what happened. Obviously, everything was working fine before the show. My microphone is routed through a mix pre, which handles noise reduction and that sort of thing before passing it off. That is powered over USB, which is getting its power from a little PC computer that I have in the rack. The only reason it's plugged into the PC instead of into mains power is so that I can, when I'm doing recorded shows, I record the audio in the mix pre. I then hit the little USB button, whatever, and the mix pre mounts on the PC as a drive so I can copy the files off, right, instead of popping SD cards out. Awesome, works great. Shortly before we went live, I was having issues with the PC. It wouldn't reboot, and it's offline right now. I have no idea what's wrong with it. It tried to do some software update and freaked out. Yay. Any Windows experts out there? Because I'm like, I have no idea what to even do at this point. But I completely forgot, obviously, why would I remember this, that the PC is required to power the audio interface. So I've just rerouted the power for the audio interface now to get it on. In trying to figure it out, I'm going, what the heck did I change? I realized that the audio interface is off. I forgot. So after I realized we're muted, I'm like checking here, nothing's wrong. I go over there and I see, oh my God, my audio interface is powered down. How'd that happen? And I'm thinking, okay, I forgot that that it was plugged into the PC. And I thought, okay, in trying to troubleshoot the PC, I did unplug it. Maybe I accidentally unplugged this. So I run to the back. I can't find which power it's plugged into because it's not. I can't find it. There's a power strip that I have the PC plugged into, and I see it's a weird switch on it. It's a weird toggle, and I'm going, oh my God, that toggle is off. I shut off power to this strip. It must be plugged into here. So I hit that. Well, guess what? That was not toggling it on. I just toggled that power strip off, which guess what? The Pearl encoder was plugged into, so the Pearl shut down. So as soon as I turned it back on, the Pearl rebooted, automatically reconnected. So 2 thumbs up for the Pearl for that. It saw that it lost power, just boom, reconnected, brought the show back online as quickly as it could, and then I just had to go and get a regular plug to plug into the audio interface so that it could get power, and now we're back. So, well, that was fun. Good Lord. I mean, the things that we go through. And of course, I didn't see your comments until way down. I suppose I should make a habit of actually confirming that you see and hear me before I start rambling into the comments. Anyway, let's go back to Aaron laughing at me and see what else is going on. So like 500 people telling me I have no audio. Excellent, good, good. No audio, no mic, no sound, no yep. Aaron saying who's good at reading lips. Yep, apparently, I don't know. And then Aaron, thank you for texting me. I did see those come through as I was noticing everything. So there we go. So much prep goes into a live stream. It's easy to miss something. But I didn't miss it except for unless you want to call, not Vince, oh hey buddy, unless you want to call not realizing your PC was powering everything, missing it. Anyway, it's always a Windows update. It is, see, it's a Windows update. I really don't know what's going on. Anyway, whatever, not you guys' problem. I'll figure it out. And didn't know the Pearl would auto-resume streaming when it's powered on. That's a nice trick. That is a nice trick. I like that. Okay. Whew. So we're here. We're live, and we still have people watching. Thank God everybody didn't bail off on me. How about we get into this little show, shall we? So where was I? Talked about the meetup at NAB. So nobody said anything in here, but if you're going to NAB, let me know. Go to PhotoJoseph.com/NAB meetup to register for our wee little meetup there. Also, because I don't want to forget this, there is a contest that I'm a part of that YOLO Live is organizing. You can see on here there's a bunch of different companies involved. We got Aperture, Rode for the Rodecaster, Hollyland, Aaron's own 3D printed what do you call them, cages for the ATEM and the YOLO box. So I'm guessing the YOLO box one is going to come with it. From NX3D, some small rig gear, some YC Onion gear, all kinds of fun stuff. So go to the YOLO Live Instagram, look for that little post on there, follow the instructions on there. It's one of those whole things where you got to like tag 50 people and share it and all that thing. You get entered in the contest, and then I think it's the Friday after NAB, I believe is right, Aaron, tell me if I'm wrong, that we're doing the actual giveaway. And I'll be on Aaron's live show, which I think we have scheduled for immediately following this live show, the Friday after NAB. So that should be fun. That should be good. All right, let's get into the meat of this show, shall we? We're going to start off with Nanlite. So Nanlite is one of the company lights, one of the brands that I use the most. I have a bunch of Nanlite in here, and in full disclosure, Nanlite sponsored a couple of events a while ago. They sent me a ton of gear for those events, and I was able to keep the gear, which is why I have so much of their stuff. Nanlites, though, are awesome. I have really fallen in love with them. Yes, this was, sponsored in the sense they gave me this stuff, but I wouldn't use it and continue to use it if I didn't genuinely love their gear. So let me go through the gear that I am using. We're going to start off with the main light that's lighting this. This show, people ask a lot, what is my lighting in this show? It's one light. Literally one light. This is it right here. It is the Nanlite Forza 300. You're looking at the actual light in play right now. It is a big old light with a big old softbox on it. It's 120 centimeter. I don't have a shot to show you the width of the full softbox, but it's 120 centimeter. It's a big boy. And it is just straight in front of me, straight up and up, like forward and up a little bit. My two main cameras, these two cameras here are just below it. If I bump this light, and I've done this before where I bump it and it ends up tilting down a little bit, it'll actually get into frame. So it is right there. Big, huge softbox, and that is the light that I'm using for this. It is cranked up to 100%. Obviously, with that big diffusion in there, it's you're losing a fair amount of light going that big, but it is giving me the light that I need for this show. So that is the main Nanlite that gets used for events like this. Other Nanlite, so there's that. Oh, and then they have this little baby one, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. This little baby light here is called the Forza 60. And let's see if I get this, did I position this right? There we go, get that into position there. And there it is. So this is same idea, same type of a light. This is a much smaller one called, let's get that angle right. It's called the 60. Little baby light on here. It's so cute. Let me get this softbox off of here. So it's just a little COB style light, teeny tiny little guy. And it has and this, I guess it's extra, you don't get it with it, but a mini dome, a mini softbox on here. The nice thing about this mini softbox, I'm not going to collapse it now, but you can kind of see it has these little buttons here to collapse each one. I guess I'm going to collapse it now. And it all collapses down into a nice little tight compact package. And the whole thing fits into a bag, let's say. Oh, I can't do this with one hand. I don't need this anymore. It's compact down into a little bag, let's say about like this big. Well, I guess that dome is a little extra. But anyway, it's a nice little compact light kit. Really like this one. This one I end up using for a lot of product photos and videos. If I want like a turntable kind of a shot, I'll put this maybe just straight overhead because you get a nice big soft even light down there. Obviously really good light quality, full dimming on there. Now these are just white lights, just daylight. These aren't RGB or even color temperature tunable, I don't think. Yeah, no, these are all just pure daylight light bulbs. And I think they come in other models though where you can get them if you want to make the light warm or cool or whatever. But I just, all daylight here. And that's great. So that's a baby version of the big one there. So there's those type of lights from Nanlite. Then Nanlite makes these, which I have a few of these as well. This is the biggest one. This is a panel. All of this stuff is linked in the descriptions below, by the way. This huge panel is a compact, COMPAC. This is the Compact 200. And this thing is an immense amount of brightness. So let me turn off the main light on here. This is down, let's go down to 1%. That is the dimmest that it gets. Now, I realize that when you're doing a video about lights, you're like, oh, look at how bright it gets. It's totally stupid because, well, it depends on the setting of the camera. But if you think about how the lighting was with that big light at full power, yes, it's some distance away. I mean, that's probably a good 10, 12 feet away, distributed out over 120 centimeters. Obviously, there's a lot of light loss between here and there versus this that I'm right in front of. But this is 1%. This thing puts out a lot of light. And it's just one big, huge, massive panel. Let's point it towards the back. And even there, you can see it is fully lighting up the backdrop on there. And if I bring it up all the way, then obviously it's going to blow the heck out of everything. But these light panels are pretty awesome. I really, really like the way these guys work. They look really good, very consistent, very even, and come in a variety of sizes. This is the biggest one that I have. I don't know if this is the biggest one. I think it is. I use a smaller version of this as my main light on this room, which the lights are off right now. But in that room, if I'm on a call in there or doing a live show from there, I have one of these, a smaller one, that is my main light off to the side, and then a even smaller one, which actually isn't one of these, just another small little Nanlite panel up in the corner as a fill. And they're great. So again, love these huge panels if you need a big, huge panel. And the nice thing, of course, here too is it's very thin. You can see they're very nice and thin. So you can put this up against a wall, right? So that's a really good differentiator. Now that I've pushed it away, this style of light, which I can put a dome on there that is a big, huge light dome, it has depth to it, significant depth. You know, the one up here, it's got to be, I'm trying to get everything, I mean, it's got to be at least this deep, probably more. So you clearly can't put that into a small, confined space. I can use that here because I have a huge space. Can't do that with a big dome light, whereas this, being so thin, you can put up right against the wall, or even on a ceiling if you needed to. So anyway, so these lights are lovely. Really, really good quality. Dig these things. All right, so there's the compact, again from Nanlite. Then there's these guys, the tubes. So these are called Pavo tubes. That's the brand, the whatever name that they've put on these. This is the 30C. This was the biggest one when I got these. I think they do an even larger one now, which is pretty crazy. These are full RGB lights. Oh, these clamps, by the way, neat little tip here. So you can get these clamps with it, which are, let me do this. Let's go to the overhead view here. So these little clamps here just clamp around the tube. They have 1/4-20 holes on the bottom. I tweeted about this a while ago. I was looking for a solution and I found these things on Amazon. All this is a magnet with a 1/4-20 post on it. That's it. But put a couple of these together and now you've got a big magnetic thing that you can clamp onto any metal surface. So if you're doing something and you got a bunch of metal around and you need to put lights on, away you go. Super easy to do. Cool. So neat little tip on there. Fun stuff. Anyway, so these lights, let's see here. Let's go to this wider view again. These lights, let me find the switch. There we go. These are battery powered, so these, you know, rechargeable. Batteries last quite a good long time. And as I said, they're full RGB, or what do you call it? CCT, color temperature, blah, blah, blah. So you can tune them however you like. So let me turn the brightness down on this a little bit. There's a little LCD panel on the back. Actually, I wonder if I can see that from here. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's flickering. I didn't dial the shutter angle in to avoid that, but there's a little panel back there. This is taking the brightness down, and then there's a second knob here. So you can see there's two knobs on there that is going to bring the color temperature down. So in this mode, it is, let's bring the brightness down a little bit, and then I can dial the color temperature in. So let's go ahead and turn this off again. See how much light we're getting out of this, comparatively speaking. So at full brightness there, again, it's nowhere near as bright as that big panel was, but this is a pretty significant, get a better angle than up my nose, pretty significant little light output. And of course, this one is full RGB. So let's switch over to, now I can't see anything. Can't find the right button. Let's see here, I'll just guess. There we go, that looks right. And now let's go back to, I'm gonna have to turn this on for this. So let's go back to this light and the overhead. So again, you have two knobs here to control things, right? Whereas before, one was brightness and one did the color temperature. Now one of them is going to rotate through three modes. You have the hue, the saturation, and the brightness or the dimming. So you kind of have to cycle through the modes with one of them. So there's the dimming one, and then I'll turn that down. So let's get that down to a more reasonable level. And now if I turn this off and I cycle back to saturation, I can take the saturation way up or down on that. I mean, standard RGB stuff, right? And let's go to the color one, and now we have full RGB on the colors. So this is kind of fun. So these lights, I tend to use these, and actually the reason that I did this whole setup here with these lights is I use these on the set where you've seen a lot of the ATEM videos, basically what I call my rack set. It's a separate set that's set up right against the machine rack, and I have a bank of these, kind of one up high like this, and one over here, that does an even lighting all around without having to have a big, huge panel in front of me, and without having to have a big, huge dome hanging somewhere, because it's kind of in the middle of a room. So this works out really, really well for that. So these lights are awesome for that type of use. And of course, you know, the RGB thing, you can set up modes and have them cycle through colors and all that sort of thing. Another neat thing about these is, hopefully that light works for its demo, is on the back here, so you have your power port, but then there's also, let's go here, there is also, I don't know if it'll show up in there, a little tiny plug so that you can chain these together. You can daisy chain a series of them. So if you had a bunch of lights that you wanted to be exactly the same, brightness, color, and so on, you can daisy chain them, and then as you control one, it adjusts all the others, which is pretty slick as well. And I actually have two of those set up with the daisy chain for the backdrop lighting of that other set, so I can reach behind my little wall in there and adjust one, and it will adjust both of them together. So dig these little pavo tubes. These come in a variety of sizes. This, like I said, was the biggest when I got it, but I think they do a bigger one now, and there is a smaller, kind of half that size, and then there's a little baby one as well. So those are pretty slick. So Nanlite, we got the Forzas, the compacts, and the pavo tubes. Those are the three that I have and use. Love them all, dig them all, excellent. Now, before we move on to the next one, let's just take a quick look at the comments in here. And let's see what we got. Bring this up. Eric is saying, hit the right button there, Compact 200 is a whole lot of light going on at 1%. It really is. It is an impressive amount of light coming out of that thing. Bart says the new PavoTube 30X are a fantastic upgrade. Really? This is the 30, right? So it's, what I haven't even looked. This is the 30C. You got to go tell me that there's new stuff, man. You know, I don't need any new stuff. Don't need, but that's pretty cool. Tommy Calloway demonstrated the Pavo tubes. Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. And those magnets are incredibly versatile. They are. And that's just, you know, an Amazon thing. I just went on Amazon and got these quite strong magnets. The ones that I bought are rubber coated so that I can put them on something and not have to worry about scratching it. If that's not a concern, they have ones that are not rubber coated. Therefore, the magnets are even stronger. But, you know, you only need enough strength to hold the light up, and these are plenty strong for that, which is pretty darn cool. Okay, so there's that. Antonio, greetings in, oops, wrong one. There we go. Greetings in Italy to you too. Okay, let us move on. It's a great contest full of equipment. It is. So again, that contest, in case you missed it, that's it. Go over to YOLO Live's social, what do you call it, Instagram, and find that post and follow the instructions. Okay, let's move on to light set number 2. We're going to go to Godox next. So Godox, as you probably well know, Godox makes a lot of different lights. They've got studio strobes, on-camera strobes, wireless remote systems. I actually did videos on those years ago. I've got a bunch of them here, right? Like these little guys, right? So these kind of lights that you can, they have all kinds of fun little attachments on them. They're on-camera flash. These are strobes, right? On-camera flash. And then a whole remote system so you can control them, a bank of them remotely. Really, really nicely designed. But the light that I want to show you here is an LED light, a constant light, and that's this one here, the S30. So I showed this briefly. See, I'm going to turn this around so you get a little nice white back against that. Ha, look at that. I showed this a little bit last week, I think it was, just kind of spontaneously, and that partially triggered the show that I should do this week. This is a really cool little light. On its own, first let me just take this part off. On its own, it's just a small little light, right? And there's attachments you can put on there, as you just saw. And you know, that's it. It's just a little light. This one is, it's got a little brightness slider on here. It's got, it's supposed to be temperature controllable. I think this model is not. Yeah, this is not the temperature controllable one, even though it has a temperature readout on it, but whatever. This can be run by battery. It comes with a whole little battery setup kit, so you can put a NP battery on here, plug it in, and off you go. So nice portability that way. But the reason that I like this, the thing that gets me so excited about this, is this attachment right here. So here's what this thing is. This is a set of lenses, kind of a Fresnel lens type of a system, and it has dual lenses here that slide in and out, so you can focus the beam. Now you can combine that with, I don't know if I can even get this out of here, with, yeah, there we go, this little aperture. So these are all additional accessories, but this little aperture here allows you to constrict the flow of light. And it's not just about less light, because it's not, it's about restricting down to a narrow beam. And so where I end up using this thing a lot is in recorded videos, not live shows because it's too kind of precise for it, but I use it to illuminate a very specific piece of gear. Camera gear, it's all black. I mean, come on, it's a little bit hard to shoot sometimes. And so let's say that I've got something here that I'm doing a demo on, and it's over the shoulder view that I need, and I need some light on there, but I don't want light spilling into 15 other places. I don't want to illuminate all of that. I don't want to illuminate myself and so on. So this allows me to do a very, very narrow beam of light. So let me just demo that. I'll go and slide this thing on. And you can see, I wonder if actually, how well can we see this? If I go to this view, can you see the lensing? I mean, you can kind of see that it's a lens, whatever. You know what I'm saying. It's a lens, believe me. All right, let's put this thing on. Slide that into place. It comes with, like I said, a bunch of other accessories and color gels and all kinds of fun stuff as well. But let's do this. This is what I did last week. But there you can see already. We'll just shine a spotlight onto, I guess we'll just go straight back so we can see how narrow we can get it. There we go. And as I adjust the lenses on here, it gets a softer edge or a brighter edge, kind of a softer center. It has these lenses, there's like a little bit of magic sauce trying to figure out the right combination. I never know. I'm not going, oh, I'm going to pull it here to here to get the look. I'm always just kind of going, do I do this one, that one? And eventually I figure out what I want. But again, I can do that. Now let's see here at the aperture. There's the aperture open all the way. So let's get a hard edge kind of Hollywood light going on there. We're going to go hard edge, so about like so. And now as I start to bring this down, well, let's actually get a harder edge. Let's do that. Navigate that a little bit better. See, I have no idea. There we go. There's a nice hard edge on there. Focus that, perfect. And then now I can do a super narrow. So this, again, allows me to do something crazy, crazy narrow. So let's say I want to illuminate let's hit this now. Let's get this out of the way. So I want to illuminate the Lumix logo on that tiny little camera behind us. Let's get rid of this guy. So I could navigate that in. It's a little finicky, I'll be honest, with getting the positioning. I feel like the whole mounting system is a little bit wobbly. Of course, I'm not on a really steady stand here, which isn't helping either, but that's okay. You know, like I said, I use this all the time. You eventually get it. I'm trying to do this while looking at a camera for some stupid reason. Why am I doing that? I should just look at the actual object I'm illuminating. There we go. So there you can see, and like there it's a nice hit on it. Maybe it's a little bit too harsh. Let's open that. So yeah, you can see a nice spotlight on the whole thing. If I just want to hit the logo, maybe I soften up the edge a little bit. There we go. And so now if you look at the before and after on that, right, that's the kind of thing that I would use it for. So in case you have no idea what I'm looking at, I'm pointing at this light, that camera up there. And you can see the difference on there. It's quite good, right? So that's how I use this light. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Use it all the time in, like I said, product, video, any kind of demo stuff. This is where it gets used pretty much universally. You're going to see this thing in use. But you won't see it in use because it's always off camera. Anyway, so that is the Godox that I love and adore. Again, studio-wise, I've done tons of videos on them in the past. If you are interested in Godox lights, go back years. Just search on YouTube, PhotoJoseph Godox, and you'll find on-camera strobes, big studio strobes. I've done videos on all of them. And about half the gear I've purchased because I just needed them for things. And then some of the stuff they've sent out to me as well. So there you go. So there's that. All right, so there's the Godox play. Let's get this guy out of here. Actually, I guess I should leave it in frame, make sure that everybody gets their fair due. All right, let's go to, actually, we'll go to questions next, see if there's anything coming up. And incidentally, you know, any questions you got, just pop them into the chat. Nothing new right now. Okay, we're just going to move on then. Next, we're going to go to Pixel. So Pixel is a company you might recognize the name of. I did a video, oh my gosh, now what is this, 5 years ago or something? I did a video on a big pixel light, similar in style to the first Nanlite that I showed you. At the time, it was essentially an aperture knockoff. It was the aperture, 120D, I guess would be the one, knockoff. You know, half the price, similar or in some cases better specs. I did a video on that years and years ago. I think I called the video something like, is this an aperture killer or something like that? Because, you know, clickbait. And it actually is it was a great light. I used it for many years. I did end up having a problem with it. I kind of shorted it out. So there was some grounding issue. I zapped it. I think it's still sitting up there. But it's not reliable anymore. So that was a shame. So then, skip ahead many, many years. They asked me if I would do a video on a new light that they have, which is, it's another aperture knockoff. And I'm not super keen on the whole knocking off other people's products thing, but then at some degree, I mean, I'm calling it an aperture knockoff. They obviously aren't. And I'm calling it that because when I looked at it, I went, oh, doesn't Aperture make a light like that? Okay, yes, but also so do probably 30 other companies. The light in question is this little guy here. So it's similar to an Aperture MC. This is called the Pixel Liber, L-I-B-E-R, strange name. But there we go. It's just, oh, good. Actually, let's pull that into place so it can actually focus. There we go. The Pixel Liber on here, a little pocket video light. It's a cute little thing, right? So the fun thing about this, it is obviously RGB, as you would expect. It's magnetic, so I don't have anything that's plastic. Anyway, it's magnetic. Trust me, it just locks onto things magnetically. Little diffusion panel on here. You know, so you've got your standard, and we've seen a million of these, right? We've seen these kind of lights a million times before. Nice little diffusion panel that it has. But this is all app controllable, which is where it gets fun. So let's set this up. I'm going to turn on these two lights. And I'll just put them down like so that you can actually see them. So I'm going to put them into the overhead view as well. There we go. So there's two lights on there. Let's now bring up my phone. Cool, right? Let's bring up the phone and launch the little Pixel Light app. And oh, and Aaron's saying, frankly, a bunch of other companies made small lights like the Aperture MC before they did. See, there you go. Everybody's knocking everybody off. So you can see on there, I've got this little preset built called 2. So let's open this thing. It's searching for the lights. I had built this before. And now at the bottom of this little thing, I go to the dimming, and now I have light control over these. So let's go for the overhead view. And oh, I guess I should move these over into frame a little better there. There we go. Turn off the overhead light. And as you see, you've got your lights on there, right? So yay. So that's all fun and easy. There's all kinds of other different ways to control it. So you got a color wheel. You can do this on the brightness. I've taken it way down just for the sake of doing it on the video. So you can, oops, too far. So you can actually see the light. There we go. This is a cool feature that I really like. There's these gels in here where you can mimic the colors of certain gels that you might be familiar with in the world of photo and video. So that's kind of a neat little feature in there. Let's turn this down a little bit more, kind of like that. It also has, I love this camera mode. So how am I going to do this? I need some light first. Well, let's do, okay, I'm going to turn the overhead lights back on. I'll do it off my shirt. Okay, so I'm going to point this at my shirt. I'm now trying to find the obtain button. There we go. Point that at my shirt, hit obtain. There we go. So grab that blue. You couldn't see it, but it changed it immediately. If I go back to the overhead and turn this off, it grabbed that blue immediately. So let's do another one. I hit again. Oh, cool. I can do it like this. There we go. And let's find that. So we'll do, I guess we need a different color, don't we? So I'm missing the obtain button. There we go. Okay, let's do it off of my flesh tone. There we go. Get a different color there. I'm trying very desperately to hit the obtain button from behind it. I'm failing. Let's try this one more time. Okay, it's not working. Why isn't the obtain? There, now it's doing it. Again, obtain. There we go. Whew. It's very hard to hit that obtain light when it's backwards. Anyway, so you get the idea, right? So you can get lights from other things. So get a color from, let's get the red off of this button here. Boom, there you go. Neat, right? I love that feature. I think that's really cool. And then you have effects. So you got a variety of effects in here, lightning and ambulance effects. Let's go ambulance, things like that. Police car, right? And these things are actually, I would say, surprisingly more useful than you might expect. It's not something you use all the time. I guess I better turn that off before it drives somebody crazy. But it's a cool little feature to have. I've used them in productions before where you need to mimic some kind of a light. We're going to actually take a look at that again in a moment with the last light. But it's a neat little feature, right? Okay, so there's these 2 lights, right? Great, I can control them in an app. They didn't send me 2 lights. They actually sent me 12 of them. I asked for 12. I may have been a little bit greedy here, but I promised them a dedicated video that I am planning on doing with another YouTuber. I talked about it before briefly. I haven't said who because in case it falls down, I don't want to be like, But things keep getting delayed. So maybe after NAB, we'll be able to get together and do it. But the plan is to do a head-to-head between these and the Aperture MCs, and just in a fun, lighthearted, let's see what they can do kind of a way. But 12 of them, right? So here's the cool thing. So here's what I'm going to go and turn all these on. So let's turn each one of these things on. I also built a kind of recharging station for these, which I will show in the main video whenever that gets done. So, all right, so there's all those lights on. Let's go and turn these lights off again. And now, let's bring the phone app back up. Let's go into the process of creating a group for all of these. So, and by the way, when you exit a group, you can see in there I can turn them all off, but I don't want to do that, so I'll just exit. So let me create a new group, and I'll call this one all, and jump into this new group, add devices. It's going to scan for the devices that are not yet grouped. And there we go. There's all of them there. I'll just hit select all, done, and it's going to add. Now this will take a moment for it to add them in. The idea, of course, wouldn't be that you would do all 12 of these at once. As one group, you'll most likely have a group of a few here, a group of a few there, whatever. You have a variety of groups that you can then color the ways that you need. So I guess this is going to take a little while. And so you could build a kind of really cool setup where you've got, all green lights over here and all your red ones, whatever, Yeah, limits are open. Oh, limitless, open, you know what I mean. So let's say you're doing a car scene, right? You want to have a few lights on the dashboard hitting the driver kind of a thing to illuminate the face, and you need 2 of them. And so you got to have your color controls on there. And then you get something in the back seat, and you want to have that a different color, and you need 3 lights there to do the job. And so you can bank all those together. And then you have individual control over them, which is a really, really neat little thing. So this is part of the thing that we'll compare with the Aperture, because they do these as well, and I'm anxious to compare it to see how this whole experience goes, how the whole controlling them and so on goes. Things like this. Does this take this long with the Apertures? Is it faster? Is it better? Well, all the questions that I think need answering. But anyway, I'm really enjoying these lights. Okay, so here we go. Now we're all up and running. So they're all connected, and now it says Bluetooth is disconnected. That was frightening. Hopefully not. Actually, let's go ahead and turn this back off. And now, if I go into dimming, obviously I didn't even show this, but you of course have regular colors in there. But let's go to the RGB or the HSI view. And you can see them all cascading through. Let's turn the brightness way down on that. There we go. And it's kind of funny when you do them, you see how they kind of cascade through. I guess I made that too dark. How they cascade through. They don't all necessarily get hit at the exact same time. It's just kind of fun. I brought these home and let my kid play with them for a while. He was enthralled. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. So that's these little Liber lights from Pixel. So I'm excited about these. I think they're really fun. A bunch of them are slightly different colors. Look at that. Well, that's curious. I wonder if they just lost connection. Let's try that again. Actually, I will say that is something that I had noticed, and this will definitely show up in the review. Sometimes even when they are, it's like somehow this is disconnecting and not always matching. But here, this is a good example. They're slightly different light colors. It might be kind of hard for you to see there, but they are ever so slightly different. So not exactly super, super consistent. But they're also really inexpensive. I think they're, say, $70 each or something. So they're not crazy expensive for what they are. Like half the price of the MCs, I believe. Anyway, so there's that. So that's fun. Oh, and then I can turn them all off. Oh yeah, here, let's do this. I'll go, let's see, if I leave this bank, oops, let's turn that back off. If I leave the bank, there we go, I have a turn off all lights option, and exit, and poof, down they go. Now, of course, what this means as well is that you can't turn them back on from the software. Logical, right? Because once you've cut off the power over software, it has no way to get back to it over software because it's got no power. But it's cool that you can turn them off. So. All right. I know, it's a lot of them. It's kind of fun. It's fun. I got to come up with something really fun to do with these. Let's get this down here. Get it out of the way. Okay. Anything else showing up in the comments before we move forward? And oh, that frame stayed. So much for that preset working, right? There we go. All right. Let's see here. It's a great contest full of equipment. Yes. Yeah, Aaron was saying that a bunch of other companies make lights as well. That's a cute phone overlay. You know where I got this, Aaron? I have this automation script that I downloaded that will take any screenshot you take on your phone, and then you run it through an automation, and it creates a PNG with transparency of your phone, and it's your device, right? It goes and checks out what device it is, pulls from that database, and it takes your screenshot and builds it inside of an image of the phone. And it's a really nice clean render. So what I did was I created one of those, just a blank white, and then took that into Photoshop, dropped out the white, and built the whole layer thing. So that's how I ended up with that, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of fun. I dig it. Anyway, okay. See, that's supposed to be going away with that button. Yeah, grief. Okay, anyway, moving on. Loving this layout. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Might have to steal this. Please, by all means, do. Alrighty. Obtain button. I like that. It's like the color picker on Photoshop. Interesting. I really like the Obtain. I haven't used it practically anywhere yet, but I do like the idea. I think it's a really neat thing to have on there. It is so many lights, and Eric's right. It does look like Aaron's stack of SD to HDMI, a flock of pixel Liber. We need a good name for those, a flock of Libers. I'm going to come up with something really offensive if I think too hard about it. So let's move on before we do. Okay. Next and last of the group is this one from Sutefoto. This is the newest light in my bunch in here. Actually, that's not true. I guess the pixels are newer. But anyway, this is a new light to the bunch. Here it is. This is your standard COB style light, so just like we've seen before, with your standard Bowens mount on it. So that is, there we go. There we go. Standard Bowens mount, so great. Any soft boxes like the big one up here, all that works. Cool. The thing about this one is it is RGB, as you might imagine. So let's get, let me see here. I don't know where my positioning was for this view. Oh, there it is. It is right. Let me get a close-up of this, get this into the right spot. I suppose I could, come on, focus, silly thing. I suppose I could do this, and I'm sure some of you are now wondering what in the actual heck is going on here. Whoa. I'm going to put this into slow mode. I'm working on a video on this whole PTZ head, and that camera is not focusing. Did I switch it into manual accidentally? Oh, there it goes. Whew. Good grief. Okay, so this is the Sutefoto P80 RGB. You can control it from the back, but of course it's much more fun to control this over an app as well. So let's turn this guy on. And there she goes. And ooh, that is light, that is bright. So that is on. Let's go ahead and fire up the app for this and bring that up. And this was called the SSLED. SSLED, there we go. And connect to that. There we go. Connected, super duper. Okay. So again, your standard, you got your little hue RGB kind of a thing to deal with. Let's take the intensity down so it's a little bit more visible on the back there. There we go. So you get a nice little color control on there. You've got a color temperature type, so if you want to just do your standard color temperature, with green magenta compensation, which can be very, very helpful. This, if you don't know, is generally to balance for skin tones. Often you get a color temperature that is just right, and there's a little bit of green, a little bit of magenta cast on skin tones that can get picked up. So this will help you dial that in or out very, very precisely. There's full RGB, plus this is kind of a cool, there's a less warm and more warm set of sliders on the bottom. So if I get my color the way I want it, but I'm like, I just want a little bit warmer, I can add a little warmth or take a little bit of warmth out without necessarily having to go, wait, do I add red? Do I take out green? What's going to be the right combination? That's kind of a neat little thing. And then there's the effects. So again, effects, we've all seen these things before, right? But I thought this would be kind of fun. Let's just see how realistic this looks, because this is a big one. So let's go to the fire one. And I'll take the intensity up so you can actually see it because it's way down. I guess I need the frequency up as well. There we go. Okay, so that's on. So now what I'm going to do is put this thing off camera, and let's see how believable it looks. And I did this before the show, obviously, and it looked pretty darn good. So let's just do that. Let's turn off this light. And you're like, oh, it's a cold morning. Oh, yeah, come on. Is it flickering? There we go. I guess I should turn up the frequency of the flicker. Let's get a little bit more. There we go, that's a little bit better. Let's take it all the way up. Yeah, there. It's kind of a not a smooth transition there, is it? I thought it was smoother before. Play with the sliders, go a little intensity up, take that down. I feel like before when I played with it, it was a smoother transition. Let's try a different one, then we'll come back to this. Do fireworks. Fireworks, are you gonna go? Yeah. I feel like that transition was definitely better before. So there, that one's pretty, anybody outside is like, what's going on in there? So that's pretty good. Let's go for the TV one. I'm gonna go back to the fire because I do feel like, the flickering was way smoother before because I did this and I thought, oh, this looks really, really good. That's where I want to do the demo. But that is not smooth right there, is it? All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to power it off and back on again, and we're just gonna see if it makes a difference because it really was, I'm sure, unless I just totally missed it, it was smoother than that when I did it before. I'm pretty sure of that. But we're going to give this Sutefoto Light the benefit of the doubt. Now, this is not something I've used for the effects, but for the RGB, I absolutely have been using for, again, a lot of the product photos. So if you look at the last week's show thumbnail, the GH6 with all the rigging on it, there's a nice big red cast on it. That was from this light, so that was, I'm using it. It's awesome. But let's see what the deal is with that flicker. So are we back up and running? We are, and let's turn this off again. It's still getting quite a bit of stepping, isn't it? Well, I guess I'll have to talk to the company about that. They might be watching right now, or they'll watch it later. But yeah, that's not quite as realistic as I would expect it to be. Bummer that. Well, if you just want a solid RGB light, it's good for that. Maybe not so good for the effects. Who knows? Okay, moving on. Let's turn this off. And oops, let's turn that on. Let's turn this off. Let's get rid of this. And wrong button. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Turn that off. And that concludes all the different lights that I wanted to show you. Yeah, okay. we got it. We nailed it. We did the lights. So let's just see what's going on in the chitty chat. And otherwise, we are going to wrap this thing up, take it home. Anything else going on in the show? There's nothing new. Nobody wants to comment. Well, tell me what you guys think. Ask questions that you might have. Bart, just come to NAB. Come on, dude. You know you want to. You know you can come out for one day. Come out for Monday. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. All right. Turn up the intensity to see if the effect is smoother. All right, let's try it again. Let's try it. We'll give it one more try on here. Shining at me. Turn this off. Intensity. Let's get this back up. Take the intensity all the way up. There we go. All the way up. And let's take the frequency all the way up. No, it's not. It's definitely giving that hard flicker, isn't it? Huh. Very strange and a little bit sad. Sometimes LEDs have trouble when they're dimmed. He's saying, yes, they do, but this is not any better, is it? Nope. Here, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to force quit the app just to see if it's something to do with the app itself controlling it. Let's just see what happens. Because let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And there we go, connected. And let's get out of this mode entirely. God, that's bright. Take that intensity way down. It is bright. I'll give it that. It is a bright light. So going to the red. Okay, that's all cool. Now let's go over to the effects, the fire effect. Bring the frequency up. Oh, that's interesting. So the intensity is way more now. So something was definitely not right before. Okay, let me take this down. More. Is it going to flicker? No, it's still doing it. And I'll do the intensity. Oops. Let's do the intensity all the way up. God, that is bright. I'm going to put that on the background there. No, still doing the hard flicker. Oh, well. You can't win them all, can you? I guess you just can't. God, that is bright. It is bright, though. I'll give it that. It is definitely a bright light. Okay, so that's everything. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you had fun. I had fun. Thanks for sticking around through the audio thing in the beginning. That was super awesome. My God, what a mess that was. Now I got to figure out what's wrong with my PC. Because I got nothing else to do today, you know? Not true. And by the way, in case you were wondering about the little pan tilt zoom thing, so if I go back to this and I hit another preset, if I've, let's see here, I think it was this preset. No, that was that one. Let's go to this position. There we go. And that should find its way over to that Nanlite. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll be doing a whole thing on that. So that is the BGH1 on a pan tilt zoom head from a company called Data Video. They have hired me to do a big production around those that is going to be released at NAB or just before NAB. I'm assuming they get to work on it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pan tilt zoom's cool. I got two heads, the whole controller. It's fun stuff. We'll get into that later. Maybe I'll do a live show on that next week. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Okay. I think that's it. Anything else in the comments? Rob says, let's bring the chats back up here. Rob says, so if I have a bunch of LED lights with different apps, what would be the best way to control all of them at once? Oh, that's a really good question. Because that is kind of one of those things, right? You end up with all these lights that need apps, and you're going, but now I need a phone for every device? I think for the most part, you're going to set up your lights and leave them there, right? It's unlikely that you're going in and changing the colors constantly throughout its use. If you are, then you probably want a device per app or per lights. I think that would make the most sense. So get some old iPhones, get an iPad, even if it has to run the iPhone app. I actually haven't looked to see if either of these apps exist on iPad in a full size, but I would say for the most part, you're probably setting it up and then leaving it, so it doesn't matter that you have to switch apps, because it will, of course, take time to switch apps for it to connect and so on. But if you really need control all the time, then you're probably going to want multiple devices. Aaron says, PTZ with the BGH1 sounds amazing, but I really don't need any more things to buy. Oh, believe me, I know. It's how this stuff goes. Looking forward to the Data Video pan tilt zoom. Absolutely. Got the aperture version of the Liber inside my guitar. Lights up the playing right hand. Oh, that's cool. Oh, what a neat use of that. I love it. That is so cool. Huh. Slick. Very clever. Okay. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. As always, fabulous to see you again. If you're going to NAB, go to photojoseph.com/NAB meetup and make sure that you arrange to meet us up there, those of us who are going to be there. If you want to win a bunch of cool stuff for free, make sure you enter this contest being put on by YOLO Live. You can see all the goodies on screen there. Go to their Instagram and find that post, and then you know what to do from there. Read it and do whatever it tells you to do. And with that, I think we're good. Aaron. All right, one more. Aaron, I guess it's only fair that you make me buy a bunch of stuff after I made you get the SDI matrix. Oh, the matrix is definitely your fault, Aaron. So I have this 40 by 40 SDI matrix from Blackmagic, which wasn't cheap to begin with, but it's awesome. Love it. Don't regret buying it at all. But I did probably have to spend just as much again as the product itself in cabling. What did I have? Oh, I had to get a bunch of new HDMI to SDI converters, or SDI to HDMI, whatever. Yeah, that turned into an expensive venture. But it is part of what is allowing me to do this now for a variety of reasons. Anyway, okay, that's it. We're out of here. Have fun at NAB. I guess that means that Bart really isn't coming. Man, what a bummer. That is a bummer, and we're good. Okay, take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.